To understand what I'm about to tell you, you need to do something first. You need to believe in the impossible. Can you do that?
What do you desire that you can't have?
Now you should at least give a brother a moment to say something heroically clever.
You have failed this city.
So I have this thing with roles?
Just the end of the world.
There's about a dozen ways that I could stop you right now. But I don't think I have to.
You're the boy from the circus.
I started up a security firm.
Finally, a superhero team I can actually get behind.
In the future, my friends may not be heroes, but if we succeed, they will be remembered as legends.
Welcome to the DC TV report for the week ending Saturday, May 16th, 2020. I'm Little Eddie O'Hare, aspiring professional fanboy.
And I'm Sarah Netzley, academic by day, writer by night.
We're here to bring you recaps, news, and commentary for all live-action television shows based on DC Comics.
And we have 4 new episodes this week. 1 of them is a finale, and 2 are penultimate episodes.
Yay! 4 episodes.
Yay.
A lot to talk about.
And I feel like I need to use air quotes on finale and penultimate because they're the finales and penultimates that they had to come up with the shortened seasons, but I think they actually did really well.
Yeah.
Bringing things, to a head, all things considered.
All things considered. Mm-hmm. And, I think this is what we're going to get, so we might as well enjoy it. And that's okay. That's okay. I just want to apologize up front if there's any background noise in my end. There are landscapers working outside, and it's really hot out, and I don't feel like closing my window. So sorry. If you pick that up, maybe it'll get lost to the noise reduction. Sarah, do you hear anything?
I hear nothing. I would never have known this, but
all right.
Are they doing loud? Are they do they have loud equipment, or are they just loud talkers, or?
Well, no. They've got like weed whackers and lawnmowers going.
Sure.
So if you don't hear it, it just means I'm awesome.
Obviously.
Oh, but yeah. Enjoying the quarantine life. Sarah and I are both working from home. Sarah, have you gone stir crazy yet?
You know what? I am a super extrovert, but I am shockingly comfortable with this. It makes me question everything I thought I knew about myself. So, my school year ended yesterday. I turned in my grades, and now I'm on summer break. Woo! Summer's gonna look a lot like March and April and most of May. So,
So, all right. So you got some free time. You should go on a road trip.
I mean, I do sometimes drive my car just to be in my car and not my house. So
I do the same. And do what you got to do to get through this. Just be ready when we get that call. Be safe, don't be stupid. But once we get the okay, be ready to celebrate. Thank you everybody for listening to us. We are part of Wicked Theory Studios, and if you have a chance, if you haven't already, please rate and review us on whatever podcast app you're listening to, or maybe just open up an Apple Podcasts. Just like open up the app, and you don't even need to download us. Just rate and review us 5 stars. That helps people find us. And if you want to be extra helpful, Wicked Theory does have a Patreon, patreon.com/Wicked Theory. You could, for a little as $1 a month, you could just, help us cover bandwidth and overhead, that kind of thing. And there's a bonus podcast for you to listen to there called Ed Bonds with Bill, where I watch James Bond movies with our executive producer, Bill Sweeney, and try to teach him to develop the same passion for that franchise that I do. And our most recent episode that went up last week is Diamonds Are Forever. Yeah, Sean Connery's second final James Bond movie.
So I this week also discussed a James Bondish movie for a podcast that you'll be hearing in your ear space very soon. I joined the team over at Moving the Needle to talk about Nicolas Cage's seminal works, The Rock and Con Air. And so we had a knockdown debate about which is the better movie, or are both of them trash movies. So I argue very passionately for one of those movies. And I think if you know me at all, you know which one it is. So, yeah, that's it. I'd be looking for Moving the Needle, because it was a fun discussion about, what makes a good action movie, and can you have a good action movie, and how do you value them, and it was a lot of fun, and it's fun to have people on there who are not necessarily fans of the genre talking about the genre and what they like and don't like. So yeah, it's a good conversation. So be on the lookout for that. I believe that drops this coming week.
Cool. Talking some early Michael Bay. Yeah. Before he started making those
Just got all
Transformers
Michael
movies.
Bay. Yeah. I feel like The Rock is the best use of Michael Bay. It's the best Michael Bay. Is it too long? Yes. Could that whole car chase in San Francisco scene be completely excised from the movie with everybody the better for it? Of course. Is everything in San Francisco shockingly explosive? Yes. But it's great Michael Bay.
Cool. Sarah, have you caught Six Underground? His most recent film on Netflix?
It was also very Michael Bay. Much explosions. Many weird things with car chases. Many slow motion Ryan Reynolds in a car chase, mugging at the camera. It's exactly what I expected.
Yeah. It is the most Michael Bay, and proves, some people just need someone in their lives to tell them to stop.
And yet I enjoyed that more than I enjoyed Extraction. The Hemsworth movie that came out on Netflix a couple weeks ago, that was not fun at all. I would rather have had Michael Bay just making pigeons blow up or whatever than
there we go.
humorlessness. So this has been action movies.
Yeah.
But what's great is I'm gonna save this with a transition. I feel like Batwoman had great action this week. Is that a good transition?
Yeah. We had great action on all of our shows this week, but particularly, I think, as we're going to jump right into the recaps, the first episode that we're going to cover, which is Batwoman. Season 1, penultimate episode. A secret kept from all the rest. Alice sent Tommy, a.k.a. Hush, to round up a cryptographer to break the code to Lucius Fox's journal. Luke figured out that Julia was not being truthful about why she was still in Gotham. Last minute reveal, Alice told Mouse they need to get their hands on some kryptonite.
I was not expecting kryptonite on this show, I got to be honest.
Yeah, no one expects kryptonite. I mean...
No, yeah, they never. So... No, do you have more kryptonite material?
No. I mean, when I hear that, I'm like, ooh, maybe were they? If we'd gotten those extra couple episodes, would we have seen Kara pop up? Maybe, and do a little bit of a crossover there.
They definitely laid the groundwork for that friendship in the crossovers plural, right? So
maybe
that could have happened, but the way things are now, I'm thinking probably not. Anytime in the future.
No.
So I thought I loved the motorcycle stunts this week, and I also felt like this was fun gadgets. Have I just been glossing over gadgets in past episodes, or was this an unusually good and high profile, anchor it in the asphalt, anchor it in the van, gadgets?
No, yeah. I mean, definitely using those suits. Also Luke kind of coming into his own. And he was all over the place going off the reservation. I think this episode really kind of demonstrated Kate Kane needs to work on her communication skills.
You think?
And I think a lot of times it's frustrated and yelling and like, no, you have a team. You could trust your team. You could tell your team what's going on. And I think that, that lack of communication caused some things like, Luke going off on his own. It should have been Kate that confronted Julia, not Luke.
Yes. Although
You
they
know.
and they have a pre-existing relationship as well. So she has a lot of relationships with a lot of the Bat team, in interesting capacities. But
Mhm.
yeah, but this was a great episode for Luke. I also really, really loved. I mean, it was obvious, but how much they needed him. How helpless Kate and Mary being like, "Well, you do it. No, you do it. I know how to do it." Was really funny.
Yeah, and I do like they establishing, each team member has their own particular set of skills, but that doesn't mean that everyone is Superman and can just cross over and do something,
Mhm.
and do everybody else's job. Um,
And maybe that's I don't know. I feel like on The Flash, if you told me what their specialties were, what does Cisco do that Caitlin does not do? Caitlin's more medical, I guess, maybe. But
mhm.
I feel like they can all do everything on The Flash. This made it really clear this is and they had a great Mary beats there as well, where she used that social savvy to say, oh, well, my friend had that hot sub, and so this is the cryptographer, that we need to be looking out for. So they did a nice job of highlighting the skills that Mary brings as well.
Yeah.
Also, how many cryptographers are there in Gotham? Dang. There were so many linguist code breaker dudes. What?
I mean, a lot of a lot of big cities have a bunch of colleges, so I mean, I'm just thinking like New York, you probably have cryptographers at both like Columbia and NYU.
That's
And there's
two. That's two. At one point, they
and
were like, every cryptographer's in the city's locked down. What? Two of them are demonstrably dead, and there's more that are locked down.
maybe there's a club, you know maybe they have a poker game on the weekends. They all get together. I don't know. Other big thing that happened this week, we got to finally see Tommy Elliott in the Hush getup. And we got to see Hush. Sarah, were you frightened? Were you intimidated? What were
Um,
your impressions of Hush?
yeah, actually, gross and scary.
Mhm. Yeah, they got the look down. The look is really close to the comics. I feel like he's scarier in the comics. And he's
Ugh.
he's he's much more brutal than he is here. They played him a little bit more for laughs. But
When he
um
actually says "hush," it's intimidating. I will say.
yes. 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 It's just so weird that we saw this character as like a rich brat
Uh-huh.
beforehand, and now they're trying to toughen him up.
Yeah, he just shoots a lot of people real calmly. He's like Bizarro Negative Man. I feel like Doom Patrol bandage guy, friendly, right? Like
Yeah.
tortured but friendly. And Hush is just kind of a dick.
Yeah. 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 Um yeah. So lot going on in this episode. Um Reagan finally came clean to Kate about, being Magpie's sister. Um and what do you think Julia actually is doing in
I
Gotham?
honestly don't know. I really don't. Um
Mhm.
I wonder if it's does it look like she's disavowed or been kicked out of MI6, but she's gonna I mean, is she on a secret agent mission she'll go back into the fold of her former agency with whatever it is that she's after? I don't know. I do not know. What do you have thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, it's just, I mean, she says she's sticking around because she didn't realize she was being hired to kill Kate. Um, and
Yeah.
yeah, this Sophia Sohail person that we're gonna be looking at. And I think she's definitely gonna be, her relationship with Sophie. Um, She's definitely going to be sticking around more in the season, but I feel like there's some questions that I'm hoping that they clear up in the next episode.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
Mhm.
But yeah, Kate did show up at the wrong time for the kissing there at the end.
Yeah. And for a penultimate that wasn't supposed to be a penultimate, I feel like this was action packed. It had everything that you want from that kind of episode, where it did feel like it was setting up a lot of things. And I guess we're just gonna have to see whether they get knocked down, or if we're going to be in the wind wondering what happened for a while.
Yeah. And the next week on, I don't always watch them, but it looked really good. That said, I am Team Mouse in the Mouse versus Alice disagreement.
Okay.
I feel like she was a little hasty. They did have a pretty good thing going there.
Yeah,
but I guess you got to flood the city with Arkham inmates. That's just part of the rules, you know.
Yeah. Also, I think Mouse is at the point now where like he actually wants to get better. And yeah. And I'm wondering if we're going to see that kind of a turn where he may turn Alice in and ask to be separated from her, or something like that, or if he decides to go back to Arkham. I think that would be an interesting storyline. Yeah, there's definitely, of course Alice is wrong on that. Of course. She just wants to get out of there. It's weird, like that dynamic in the of them in the psych ward. It feels very real to me. It feels very much like a Cuckoo's Nest kind of thing. Where you see someone who's not well, but isn't emotionally ready to get better yet. And I think that's a bold course of action for a superhero show.
Well, and I do think it's also the allegory of the enabler, family or friends or loved ones who don't have your best interest at heart and don't put your needs above their own. There's a lot going on in that dynamic that's really heartbreaking. So yeah, I agree with you. I didn't quite expect to see this play out in Batwoman of all places, but it's been really interesting.
Yeah. All right. Any news for Batwoman?
Yeah, so next in talking about season 2, it looks as though Sophia will be coming in season 2. Sophia is the leader of the pirate nation of Coriana, and according to this comicbook.com article, this has been teased throughout season 1, which is for sure news to me. So, has it? Okay.
Yeah. Oh, you haven't noticed how all the characters are wearing Corianan leather?
Super have not.
Corinthian leather. Okay. All right. So that's something to look forward to. All right. And if that's it, you're ready to move on?
Yes.
All right. Next up, Supergirl. Season 5, penultimate episode. The Missing Link. Rama Khan attacked, and Brainy was torn over whether to follow Lex's orders and help the Earthquake demigod fight Supergirl. Alex reached out to Pete Andrews for help tracking Leviathan through history. William and Kelly worked to find evidence of a connection between Leviathan and Obsidian North. Lena asked Lex for assistance after one of her Q-Wave prisoners had a violent episode. Last-minute reveal, Lena came clean to Kara about working with Lex and offered to help stop him.
Okay. This is the scariest Lex Luthor has ever been to me. That last scene with him and Lena. He was scary.
Yeah.
What did you think?
Yeah. That was an awkward sibling argument. And I found it scarily relatable. But yeah, that was not fun. That was that was not a good sign. And finding out what he really thinks. And the good thing that comes out of it is I'm glad that Lena is finally back on Kara's side. Um,
Yes. That
and
apology that Katie McGrath gave was amazing. She just nailed that almost like whipped puppy, like I don't expect forgiveness here. I just want to help. It was wonderful. And then that really subdued reaction from Kara, which was just have a seat. Like there was no hugging, there was no of course. It was a fairly cold response, but at least it was open. So I thought the last 10 minutes of that episode were just dynamite between
yeah.
Lex and then that Lena Kara reunion.
Mhm.
Boy, I hope they have enough next week to
Oof.
wrap that up. I hope they filmed enough to
Mhm.
to put a capper on that whole arc this season. We'll see.
Yeah,
Very
yeah,
soon.
we'll see. And it was that whole storyline was really sad. I really felt for Steve. Poor Steve, who just wanted some peace, who just wanted to be able to spend some time in prison without looking over his shoulder and worrying that everyone in there was going to try to kill him, and all of a sudden that's gone. Um, and
Yes.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
I don't
yeah.
feel as bad for Steve because he was such a jerk to Supergirl
Mm.
in that season. Was it 4? I
Yes,
guess
yeah, it was last
season
season.
4.
Yeah.
He
Mhm.
was real mean to my girl Supergirl. But no, I agree. He was so at peace with the myriad, with the non no cherry, not myriad, no cherry stuff.
Mhm.
Um, and I gotta say, I was actually like, he's dead, right? Because they blew up that whole prison complex. So
Yep. Mhm.
Steve Lamelli is a former parrot. Like he is. That's really sad.
Yeah. 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 So yeah, prison riots, all of that, and Lex is the worst. Just realizing that
Lex
Lex
is the worst.
Lex really is the worst.
But I'm really enjoying him and Leviathan think they're outsmarting each other.
Yes. 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 Yeah. And speaking of really how Lex is the worst, um I Brainy is smarter than this. All right.
Uh huh.
I think
Uh
at
huh.
a certain point, Brainy's got to snap out of it. Um.
Oh, I hope so. Because I feel like they've kind of shackled him. He had that whole take your personality inhibitors off. Here's your green skin. Congratulations. And so he's a different kind of Brainy, but we haven't gotten to see him be that new Brainy yet, and it's a little frustrating. I would like to have seen. I want to see the spin that this actor gives this version of Brainy in normal interactions with his allies, and so I hope they give him the chance to do that next season, whenever that is.
mm, yes. Yes. But we did see his sister is coming back for the finale, right?
She
Um.
is, yes.
So maybe we'll get a taste of that next week.
Yeah, I
Um.
would think if he's gonna tap into the hive mind, whatever they call it, for the great Kulan consciousness in the sky, that hopefully that'll wake him up about his
Mhm.
mistakes or how he could make things better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And let's check it. We actually got to meet the real Pete. Um.
Yes. Oh, I love me some Sean Austin.
Sean Astin, man. Oh man. So I feel like I may be stupid asking this, but Sarah, are you a Goonies person or a Rudy person?
Oh, Goonies.
Goonies.
100%.
Okay. So yeah, that was fun to see him, and him and Alex working together in the library. And yeah, I feel like it was sort of weird. It kind of took me back to like grade school social studies, just seeing him kind of like wandering around the Library of Congress and getting all this weird history lesson that just happened to have to do with the villain. um
Yeah. It did feel like like you'd watch it after reading Rainbow, like, oh, here we have information on. By the way, are you a Rudy person?
No, I'm a Goonies person.
Okay. Have I told this podcast the story about watching Rudy with Jason and he convinced me that Rudy died in the end? And so I watched the whole thing horrified that Rudy was going to like be killed on the field by a bad tackle. And then when it didn't happen, I was relieved, but also very angry at my husband. It was a whole journey. So that was a weird way to watch Rudy for the first time. And one of the funniest things Jason's actually ever done to me. So anyway, Goonies forever.
Yes. Yeah. Well, it's just also, I don't know, maybe it's just men my age, remember going to football tryouts in high school. And, one of the things you had to say to the coach to get in their good graces was admitting that you cried when you watched Rudy. But yeah. I mean, it's just the fact that guy's working, and that he's on this show. I hope that we see more of him.
He is on the show because his children are big Supergirl fans. So he has been on it twice now because his kids love it. So he wants to be on it, which I think is such great dadding. Aww.
Yes, that is. That happens a lot with. Didn't Laurie Metcalf do the show for the same reason?
She did. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I think that's great. I want to be the level of famous where I can be like, oh, this is a thing somebody I love loves. Let me be involved. So how do you think about, are you enjoying having McGann back?
Yeah. It's funny. Like I didn't mention, because that storyline, it's one of those things where it was so small and it was like a fifth wheel and there was only like 2 scenes. But I think it's cool to have her around. I wish that this had happened a little earlier in the season, where that storyline might have had a little bit more time in an episode to be fleshed out.
It does feel a little like, oh, she's okay.
Mm-hmm. I also feel like there's a very good chance that she's an imposter and that John is going to get burned again.
Oh, I didn't even. Oh,
because it just feels like she came out of nowhere, and
she did 100% come out of nowhere.
Yeah, and yeah, and I feel like there must be something else. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe it turns out like she was hypnotized, by John's brother. By Phil Lamar's character, and was convinced, that maybe she had to leave Mars so that he could take over, or something like that. Maybe that's something we'll see next season. Or maybe I'm just looking for a twist where there isn't one, and I should just be happy that they're happy.
That's what I was going with until right now. So thanks.
Oh, good. Glad I could help. Anything else that we
I guess Alex is gonna be vigilante soon. I guess
maybe she'll take up the Guardian mantle. I don't know.
Oh, right. Not Guardian, not vigilante. A vigilante in the form of Guardian.
Yes.
I got all my generically named superheroes confused. Sorry.
Yeah, and maybe she'll go with the classic color scheme. We'll get some blue. We'll get some bright blue and yellow up in here.
That doesn't seem like it's her style. Her style is very much black on black. But we'll see. And then Mitch Pileggi always brings it.
Yeah. Another guy happy to work. Really weird choice. Really weird choice.
No, he's great. I love Mitch Pileggi on my screen. Are you kidding? Says the X-Files fan.
All right. And there was no Supergirl specific news this week, right?
Correct.
All right, ready to move on?
Yes.
All right, moving on to The Flash. Season 6 finale. Success is assured. Barry and company tried to protect Joseph Carver from Eve McCulloch's impending attack. Ralph became suspicious when Sue told him that Carver let her parents leave Black Hole. Carla ran tests on Frost, and they sort of had a mother-daughter moment. Last minute reveal, after locating Chief Singh, Iris's neural dissonance caused her to phase out and disappear.
This was a weird finale, which
Yes.
is understandable because it wasn't supposed to be the finale. But I gotta tell you, I don't always praise The Flash for its action sequences because it's not a fighting show. But the comic panel vibe was so cool. Not vibe like Cisco vibe, like the comic panel feel of things was just great. So much fun.
Yes, yes. Although I will say, I do remember we were talking about in the lead up to this that producers thought that this episode could serve as a finale and would have a finale feel. And to that I say, lies! Lies!
I'm glad it wasn't just me. Okay. It just felt like a lot of moving people into place. And I don't fault it at all. This is not but they were just trying to do some spin, and that's okay.
Yeah, yeah. It feels like, oh, no, this needs about 3 more episodes.
Yeah, which is what it was supposed to have, so... But yeah, you bring everybody together and you kind of introduce the villain steps through the mirror and she's got the suit on and that's it. All right, cool.
Yeah. So Iris figured out how to use her powers and then maybe she disappeared into nothingness.
Yep, that's what happened. The end.
How do you feel if you're Camilla in that situation?
Not great, Bob.
I mean, do you find Singh? Do you find your way out of there and then tell Barry, yeah, so Iris, I mean, if you figure your way out, do you turn to Singh beforehand and go, flip you to see who tells Barry his wife's not around?
Oh my God. She would never. She is basically the Dr. Troy of this show, right? She's the empath, so she would be the one to do it. Although we'll see.
That's Cecile. That's Cecile. I'm talking about Camilla.
Camilla, I'm so sorry. I got my C. You're right. Yeah.
You got your girlfriend.
Kind of empath. I got my girlfriends to the men who've been on the show since day one confused. You're right. Silly me. No, Camilla's not empathetic at all. Cecile is Dr. Troy. Yeah, so in that case, neither of them are that close to Barry, I don't think. So it would be a little like, well. I will say, Evil Singh, kind of attractive. He'd just been in the background before. And then, as always, I'm like a homing pigeon for, previously nice character turns evil. Yes, you rang.
Sarah Netzley, you are full of surprises.
I also really, 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 really loved that Ralph hands them a diamond that has a hologram of a treasure map, and they project it onto a map, and it just works. And I feel like we really glossed over the hologram diamond treasure map how-to manual.
Thank you, Captain Convenience.
It was really like, oh, okay, well, I guess we only have 44 minutes, so sure.
Yeah, there we go. And Ralph and Sue had some interesting character development this week. Sue going out.
I love them so much.
Yeah, and Sue going undercover, trading herself in to free her parents from Black Hole, and going in thinking that she'll be able to take them out from the inside, and like they wouldn't see that coming. Oh, Sue, I'm worried about Sue. I'm worried.
Oh, I think she'll be okay. I think she'll be okay, but their dynamic just gets better and better. They're wonderful, and I love them.
Yeah, and how is that? I mean, how do you think Eve even knew that Sue exists to frame her for Joseph Carver's murder? I
How
mean,
did Eve know who the Flash is? Like, what?
she's had a lot of free time on her hands over the last 6
I
years.
guess so. I guess so. But good for her. She mirrored her husband to death. He died as he lived, terribly.
Yeah, that's a good thing. Sure.
I like that they made it okay. So it was interesting to me that they made it okay for her to murder him by him being like, "Oh yeah, Barry, I knew your wife was abducted, but whatever, whatever." So it's interesting that they had to make sure we knew that he was a bad guy. So when she killed him, it's bad, but it's not that bad. Did you feel like that? I felt like that's what they were doing there, was giving it permission for him to be murdered when, I mean, she's a villain, so villains kill innocent people. I don't know. I thought that was kind of interesting.
Yeah. And I mean, they're both bad guys. They were both bad people to begin with. Carver, especially like all the stuff that happened with Joe earlier in the season. The fact that we had to suffer a few episodes without Jesse L. Martin.
How dare they? But imagine how bad that marriage was, like when it was just a normal marriage. Oof.
Those dinner parties.
The passive aggressive fighting they did in front of a captive audience of their friends. Oh my god.
I know a few couples like that.
Oh yeah. Yes.
I mean, with certain Italian families, that's like the thing. You're at a certain point, you realize, oh no, this is just how they communicate. This is how they were both raised, and it's the only way they know. It's just to argue with each other. But that doesn't make it any less uncomfortable.
Grim. That's grim. Also, I will never not think that Barry's real fast spinny arms are hilarious. Oh god.
All right, so there was a lot to like in this episode. Looking forward, but I am disappointed that this ends up being the finale. And we're gonna have to wait a long time for this to be resolved. And is any of it now there was some news that talks about that, right?
Yeah, so for sure, the Mirror Mistress storyline will be wrapped up by the third episode of season 7, because that would have been the last 3 episodes of season 6. And what I thought was kind of interesting too is the showrunners have said they might be scaling back some of the stunts and things in that third episode. For a finale, they would have really brought it, but since it's just going to be the third episode, it is probably going to be a little more run-of-the-mill episode. But they also are going to have to work to connect the new villain to the Mirror Mistress a little bit more, because as it was, we would have wrapped up her storyline and had the summer off, and then we're back in the fall with a new villain. But now it's going to be from one week to the next new villain, so they're going to have to find some way apparently to connect those two villains a little more, they said.
No you don't. Oh, this is the problem. This is the problem with TV in the last 20 years. Everything has to connect. Why can't you just do one episode with a standalone story?
That's not how modern TV works. I'm so sorry.
I miss classic Star Trek. Where you could throw them all out of
yeah, all out of order, and they're fine. I've already mentioned the X-Files once, but yeah, the standalone Monster of the Week episodes were by far superior to the Mythic episodes. So I wish more shows did that.
But they're all interconnective tissue. You just throw a tease at the end of the third episode. We'll figure it out.
We're smart kids. We'll get there.
All right. Cool. And that was it for The Flash, right?
That's it. Yep.
All right. Our final episode this week is DC's Legends of Tomorrow, Season 5, Episode 12, Freaks and Greeks. The Lady Legends found themselves starting their own sorority to compete in a chug contest for the Chalice of Dionysus. Mick went on a college tour with Lita and felt insecure around the rich snobs. last minute reveal, Lachesis confronted Astra to call in a favor.
Shotgun Nate.
Yes, brought out the absolute worst in that character.
Yes. So I did not love this episode the way I usually love Legends of Tomorrow, and I don't know if it was the campus setting, because that's just not like fun escapism for me. I don't know. Ed, help.
Little too close to home.
I guess. Yeah, we have a big Greek system on my campus, so I guess. I don't know.
I was going to ask Sarah, over the years, what have been your interactions with Greek culture?
My undergrad institution did not have a Greek system, so I do not have any personal connection to it whatsoever. And then on my campus, I know they're there, but I don't interact with it a lot. I have a lot of students who are active Greeks and a lot of students who are not, and I don't see any difference in the quality of student or the quality of work or anything, so I really don't have a ton. How about you? So I feel like it's all like 80s movies for me.
Mm-hmm.
And they're not my favorite genre, so I think that's why this left me a little cold. What do you think?
Yeah, so I'm not the person to ask, because I went to a city school and I commuted, so I basically went to class went to class and then left, because I had a job and stuff like that. So I did not have the traditional college experience, and I don't really talk about this because it's your job, but I'm not a big fan of higher education anyway. So
you have shocked me to the core, sir.
So yeah, I mean, for what it was, I was really thinking more of this is an homage to stuff like Animal House and Undeclared and Neighbors, and all those fun sorority fraternity comedies. And for what it was, I think it's a genius idea that if Dionysus did exist in this world, of course he would be leading a frat, and of course he would be like Van Wilder, except instead of being at college for 7 years, he's there for 200.
Yeah, that was a fun setup, and I did like the growing realization of how they needed to get the cup and beer pong, and it was I see what they were doing and I appreciated it. My favorite part of the episode honestly was Mick and his daughter, and Mick going back in time and putting his name on a building, and I mean that for me, those little moments were the things I really enjoyed. Also, not enough Constantine.
Yeah, he really didn't. He's just like, he let them use his place as the sorority house. And I mean, and that whole thing had a good revenge, had a fun, female Revenge of the Nerds vibe to it. And I thought that storyline was cute. But yeah, you're right. The best part of this episode was Mick. And seeing him kind of get frustrated and letting Nate pretend to be Lita's dad for a bit. And I like that they're really growing Mick and Lita's relationship. And these grand gestures were like, he's let me go back in time and buy a building for your tuition. We're like, he doesn't even know if she wants to go there yet. What if she's like, Hudson's drab? All of a sudden he's like, Hudson's drab, I want to go to Duke.
Well, then he'll just buy a building there too. It's fine. I just wonder, what is he going to do if does she become his partner in crime literally, and would he allow that? And I don't know, that exploring that dynamic will be a lot of fun.
Yeah. So that's
And the other thing that really stood out to me in this episode was I thought it was kind of cool that it was the women who were putting together the fake sorority or the whatever. But it highlighted for me there are a lot more women on the ship than men right now, right?
Yeah.
I didn't realize how that ratio had shifted over
Yeah, I
time, but I
mean,
thought that was kind of cool.
yeah. Ray went off with Nora, and Bayrod's dead right now. Um,
Right now.
I think part of it was also, Constantine kind of got neutralized, and Mick had his own storyline.
Yeah, that's
So
true.
yeah, so really the only guy who was really a big part of the A plot was Nate. Um, so yeah, so Sarah, Ava, Zari, and Charlie really took the focus. So that made more sense. And there's also the fact that Sarah is still blind. Um,
I did like that everybody was like, "Oh, that disability rep is great for us."
yeah, yeah. I think this was a cute, fun episode that was fun for what it was. They can't all be. I mean, this show is so bonkers.
Yeah, yeah, agreed. They can't all be those episodes that really knock me back on my heels with the clever, the emotional,
Mhm,
the stakes, all of that. And that's fine.
mhm.
And it looks like this upcoming week is going to be zombies, so I'm super into that.
Cool.
Of course.
Yeah, yeah. All right. And news for Legends.
Yeah, we've got a little bit of information about season 6, and the main villains in season 6 are going to be aliens,
Mm, okay.
which is interesting, but my first thought was, well, that's not serving up anything that John Constantine has strength in, and that makes me sad.
Mm. Yeah, well, we'll see. We'll see. I wonder what type of aliens. There are a lot of different alien species.
There could be a lot of different. Will they do one that
Hmm.
we've seen before, or will they introduce new aliens? I don't know.
Mm.
Do not
Uh,
know.
no, no. Another thing to look out for, because this involves time travel. Maybe in season 6 we might get a visit from the Legion of Superheroes and see the Legion and Legends. That would be an epic crossover. Um, so that's something to keep your eye on. Because the Legion is all made up of aliens, from
Oh,
all over the galaxy. Um, so maybe we'll see Mon-El show back up with his super hot, obnoxiously hot wife. Um, I don't know if you remember that storyline, Sarah.
oh, I do. I do. I do. Although they ended kind of separated, didn't they? He went back into the. I don't know what. Like he could have gone back to the future and reconciled.
Yeah,
Maybe.
it ended up being kind of like a marriage of convenience, but um, yeah, but
Yeah.
all right.
But I do remember the obnoxiously hot wife. So that's all I've got for Legends this week.
All right. So now it's on to news for the shows.
Okay, we actually have a lot of news this week. Let's do it. Let's start with the CW itself. So we have information about how they're going to handle the new season, the 2021 season, which usually would premiere in the fall. That is not gonna happen necessarily. The network's season really is going to begin in January with Batwoman joining Charmed on Sundays, Black Lightning joining All American on Mondays, and then Superman and Lois joining The Flash on Tuesdays. So they're hoping to get that off the ground in January. And then Legends of Tomorrow and Supergirl will be mid-season shows, and those are going to premiere, they say sometime between April and June is going to be their mid-season. Legends makes sense. It's always a mid-season show. Supergirl, remember, Melissa Benoist is pregnant. And so this gives her time, presumably, to, have the baby and get that good at home time before they go back and start filming again. So that is the CW's plans right now. Also, they talked about the crossover. The crossover is going to be, as they have promised us, a lot smaller. It's going to be a 2-hour crossover in the first or second quarter of 2021, and it's going to pair Superman and Batwoman.
Okay, so prediction.
Yes.
So this is kind of like a world's finest thing, sort of. It's Superman and Batwoman. I predict that in that crossover, we will see Bruce Wayne. Bruce Wayne will make his reappearance, and we'll see Batman and Superman together. and Kate will finally get to meet Bruce and say, "Hey, man, what the hell?"
That is a bold prediction. I like it.
Yeah, yeah. I think yeah. That's where I'm at.
Well, that would give us how many? That gives us the Bruce Wayne on Titans. That gives us the Robert Pattinson Bruce Wayne.
Yep.
And then that would be a third Bruce Wayne, plus of course Kevin Connolly, always in our hearts.
Yes, yeah, and
the yes, there's the one on Harley Quinn also, right? So
yeah, Dietrich
all the
Bader.
animated Batmans. Yes, thank you.
Yeah, and you've got Bruce Greenwood in a bunch of the animated movies too. And
a lot of Bruce's running around.
Yeah. And so do you because I feel like you have a better handle on the acting pool for the CW. Is there any person who's generally on the CW or the CW could afford who you think would be the Batman on Batwoman?
Well, so what age are we talking for this Batman, do you think?
I mean, I'm thinking slightly older, enough that he had been Batman for a while. So I'm going to say probably someone in their mid 40s who looks like they're in their mid 30s. Sort of the same type of yeah. So yeah, I would say someone mid 40s but extra mid 40s to 50s but super handsome.
Ooh, okay. So who are all the dads on Riverdale? Like, I feel like that's what we're the 90s former heartthrob, like that level of person, or who is on a. The thing is, they've used so many actors from other shows in crossover things.
Yeah.
That, like, the person who comes to Chris, they love throwing Chris Wood into CW shows, but he's already Monel, so obviously that's not going to work. But like, that's the kind of actor where he pops up all the time, and that amuses me. So I'm in the middle of watching Gossip Girl for the first time. I feel like some of the young teens on Gossip Girl could maybe transition into a urbane but world weary Bruce Wayne. That feels very CW-ish to me, that they would take somebody beautiful but like knocking on the door of 45 and make that happen. I don't know. Hey, if you're listening and you have a thought about who would be a great 40-something CW Bruce Wayne, please tweet us, because this is fun and I'm going to be thinking about this for days. Because again, school's over. What else do I have to do? That's joke. I have plenty, but now I'm going to be pondering.
Yeah, I mean, until that happens, I'm just going to assume that it's John Hamm, just because like the fact. But for some reason, he doesn't feel he's probably not as CW for that show.
Okay, I'm gonna say something. I'm gonna say a name, and I feel like some people listening are gonna have opinions. But what do y'all think about Jason Dohring, aka Logan from Veronica Mars? I feel like he's on the young side, but he can do charming, and he can do confrontational, violent, aggressive. He's handsome. He played, a handsome rich guy. Like, okay, CW, Jason Dohring, I've solved your problem. You're welcome.
Okay.
Tell me what you think, guys.
All right. Also, I think it's a good idea to not have, at least at the outset, to not have two super shows going at once. To maybe split time and have Superman have his own time before Supergirl comes back. I'd be interested to see if maybe that's just a half-season show, kind of like Legends or Black Lightning.
Yeah, I will be curious too. Yeah, and I guess they'll do a full 20 whatever for Supergirl, or will they not? Because Legends is usually shorter, so a lot of questions still that they haven't addressed. And that is no shade at all. There are a lot of questions with life right now, so it's fine.
All right, moving on.
Moving on. Let's talk about Superman and Lois.
Superman and
we
Lois.
Just brought
music.
it up. There's some casting news. The actors that have been cast recently are not names I personally recognize, but the roles they're playing are kind of fun. Indy Neverett is going to play Lana Lang's daughter. She looks like she's an older teen, so who knows what age they'll actually make her, but that was older kind of than I expected, I guess. And then Wole Parks is going to play the Stranger. He's going to be the antagonist on the show, out to prove that the world does not need Superman, to which I say, sir, how dare you? And in general, the show has a poster out now. So if you are curious about that, I'm sure if you go on your social media of choice, you'll see it. But it's got Soups in the suit and Lois in Lois clothes. So, we got a poster. Presumably they did not shoot that photo of them together, or if they did, it was several months ago. So,
All right.
So next news is about Green Arrow and the Canaries. If you'll notice, that was not part of the conversation about premieres in the 2021 season. The CW president says it is very much alive and an active discussion. But it was not announced as a pickup. So I am skeptical.
Yeah. I think it's gonna end up being like, if that show does get picked up, it may be like 2 years between filming the pilot and starting to film regular episodes. So yeah, it's just weird, because you figure, like, how did CW fit it all in?
If they're moving forward with production on their shows, if they're moving forward with production on Superman and Lois, if they wanted this show, they would have picked up this show, right? So
yeah, maybe they're holding it in reserve in case some show, I mean, how many new shows do they have? And I mean, it's weird, because like the bar for renewal is so low at the CW that unless something is just
that's real savage.
I'm just then unless something is just a huge bomb and just doesn't get anybody, I mean, because like the new shows that they have, it's like Walker, and like that, I feel like that's gonna get an audience, right?
Well, it is, because it stars Jared Padalecki, aka CW royalty, aka Sam Winchester, and that and Superman and Lois are the only new shows they have scheduled for January, right?
Yeah, so those have built-in audiences, and Walker may even, I mean, I'm sure there will be a certain percentage of your grandparents who are like, no, only Chuck Norris can be Walker, but a lot of them may flip over to the CW to check it out, like, oh, Walker Texas Ranger is back.
We did with is it Magnum PI? That is, we watched the first episode and we're just like, you are no Tom Selleck, sir.
No.
So,
Well, I knew that the second I realized that he was not wearing a stash. He was not sporting the stash.
Or the shorts. Don't forget about the shorts.
Oh, the shorts.
Very disappointing. Yeah. Anyway, so that's what's going on at the CW. Oh, and last thing that's going on at the CW, buckle up for this. Swamp Thing season 1 is coming to the CW this fall. Everybody calm down. These are the episodes we saw on DC Universe. Everybody, good news. If you don't have DC Universe, you can see Swamp Thing, which was really unfairly canceled. It's a great show. Gothic as hell. It's scary. It's sexy. It's atmospheric. It's amazing. They're going to have to do some nipping and tucking to get it to CW network standards. But this is going to be a great opportunity for so many more eyeballs to see Swamp Thing. I'm really excited. The network is saying there are no plans for season 2 right now, but they just need fresh content, and Swamp Thing is in the can. So this is really smart, actually. But yeah, Swamp Thing, yay!
Yeah, and it's a long shot. It's probably like 1 in 100, but if enough people watch this, if enough people, make enough noise on social media that you really like that show, maybe the CW can figure something out. It's a huge long shot, but I have faith in the people. I have faith in William Shatner. So when this comes out, we need to be ready to make some noise and let the CW know that we love Swamp Thing and we want more of it. So buckle up, baby.
We do want more. Yep.
Mhm.
Yep. So moving on to DC Universe. Hey, we've got a premiere date for Doom Patrol.
Yay!
Yay! And it's going to be June 25th.
Wow. So like a month and a half away. This is exciting. So that means between Doom Patrol and Stargirl, we're gonna have 2 shows at least to watch this summer. Yeah, I am all fired up.
Yes, I did not expect to have an announcement, actually, because the last we'd heard was that they had some production delays, so I'm really pleased that they were able to move forward on that. Next up is Titans. This is a slightly sketchier set of reporting, but there are comic resources and other websites have rumors of spin-offs of Titans maybe coming to DC Universe. What that highlights more than anything is the commitment that DC Universe is going to be around for another year or 2 at least, that they have the commitment and the money and the support to keep DC Universe going. Because Ed, you and I have talked a lot about if HBO Max takes off, is that a death knell for DC Universe? I still think yes, but apparently DCU will be sticking around for at least another year or 2. Well, this also begs the question: what spinoff would you like to watch of Titans?
Well, I don't think I could. I don't think that Sarah, you or I could handle a Hawk and Dove spinoff. Just be.
What if it's okay? Let me pitch this. What if it's a reality show where Hawk and Dove visit different karaoke bars around the country?
Okay. But
and then they beat people up in the parking lot.
Yeah. And you still have those like super intense, dimly lit sex scenes where, you're not sure if both of them will survive the encounter.
Oh my god. I would watch it. I have no pride. I would watch it.
But Sarah, before the show, you mentioned the one that I really want to see, which is Superboy.
Superboy spinoff would be great.
Yeah.
Probably. I don't know. Like, I careful what you wish for. Sometimes those one-off characters are great as one-offs and not great long-term. But I would be really interested in that.
Yeah. And, a lot of these, they could be small doses. Not all of these have to be ongoing. So, maybe we do just a 6-episode miniseries and just see what sticks. There's tons of different things that you could do.
Give us Superboy. Let's see. Last DC Universe show, Justice League. It's not DC Universe. Is it HBO Max? Justice League Dark.
Justice League. It's HBO Max.
Dark music.
I'm getting confused about my channels here. HBO Max news. Justice League Dark. This is not actually news, but we're giving it to you anyway because it's so great. Matt Ryan, who plays Constantine in Everything Always, has said he'd really like the chance to read for the Constantine role in Justice League Dark because of course he did, and of course he does because he's Matt Ryan.
Yeah, that guy. Yeah, I mean, does DC Entertainment, are they going to even allow any other actor to audition? I feel like, he's sort of proven himself because he's played it on 2 different networks across 3 universes, and he voices Constantine in most of the animated stuff. So
I feel like Matt Ryan will sit outside in the parking lot of the audition spot and scare off the actors going in to read. He'll be out there with a lead pipe and just be like, "Hey, mate, where do you think you're going? I'm so sorry. That was not a good accent." Yeah. I just was charmed by that little bit of news. Of course he wants to audition.
Yeah. And you realize the sacrifice he makes to play that character, where his hair is not naturally blonde.
Maybe that's why he wants it. He's like, if I'm bleaching the hair, I may as well be getting double salary for it.
Depending on the timing, Sarah, you pointed out that Aliens may not be Constantine's thing. Maybe that this gives him a chance to jump over to HBO Max.
I don't hate it. I really want this to happen for Matt Ryan and for us.
All right. Moving on.
Oh, it just so tickles me. Okay, last news of the week is for Sweet Tooth
Sweet
coming to Netflix.
Tooth music.
We have some casting news for this Robert Downey Jr. produced show. The big names are James Brolin is going to be the narrator, and Will Forte will have a role as well. And then you've got Christian Convery from Beautiful Boy, Nonzo Ananzi from The Laundromat, and Adil Akhtar from The Big Sick, rounding out the cast. I'm assuming it is about a boy with antlers, right?
Yes.
So I'm assuming the first name listed is Christian Convery in the show Beautiful Boy. I'm assuming he will be boy with antlers.
He will be Sweet Tooth. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I love Will Forte, and James Brolin can narrate the heck out of whatever he wants. So that's
yeah.
good.
Yes, yeah. I mean, it's nice to see that this show is inevitable. Yeah, and 8 episodes. We're gonna get 8 episode first season. Yeah. Wow. I mean, of all the properties, all the weird. a boy with antlers named Sweet Tooth escapes a genetic scientific facility in the middle of the forest in a dystopian world. Yeah.
As you do.
All right. So that's all the news. Now it's time for our winners of the week.
I can go first because
Okay.
Look, I should pick Katie McGrath for her amazing apology scene and her standoff with Lex. I should pick her, but I'm not. I am picking Mary from Batwoman for one reason and one reason only, because in the middle of a fight early in the episode, Mary turns on her heel and says, "Time to day drink." And that has really been a motto for a lot of people in these troubled times. Mary is the hero we need. It is time to day drink. That's my winner of the week, and I hope yours is better.
Well, mine is Mick Rory. Because he's
also a fan of day drinking.
yes. Who's learning to be a dad, and really going out on the boat jests. And I think slowly he's going to learn, that it's not so much about the big things; it's just about being there. And I'm excited to see him and Lita's relationship grow.
I would agree with that. Yes, that's a good choice.
All right, Sarah, we did an episode.
We did a full episode. That was stuffed.
Yeah. We're over an hour on this one. And next week we've got 4 episodes, and we've got a new show. We've got Stargirl coming. And I'm excited. I can't wait to see what that show is going to be. I'm getting ready to get on DC Universe Monday to check that out. And we're gonna see it air on the CW. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it too.
Mm-hmm. Cool. All right. So that's the DC TV report for this week. You can find us on Twitter. I'm at Little Eddie O'Hare.
And I'm at Sarah Netzley, SARANETZLEY.
And follow the show on Twitter at DCTV Report. Send along your emails to dctv@wickedtheory.com. Also, be sure to subscribe to our show on your podcast app of choice and rate and review us. That helps more people find us. Check out our sister show, the Wicked Theory Podcast. This has been a Wicked Theory Studios production. Executive producer, Bill Sweeney. Visit us at wickedtheory.com. Shazam, everybody.
Shazam.
Shazam!